You look great regardless.
Thank you.
All right, so you're going to get out of prison this year?
Well, I figure there are three choices. Either I stay in, I get out, or I die in. So
Yes.
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
So one of those
Listen,
three?
I learned my lesson. I was at Cape Girardeau Comic-Con, and I thought that the word legends for the show Legends of Tomorrow was common knowledge. So I'm just sort of casually, suddenly it exploded on the internet. Did John Wesley Shipp just revealed that? I get a email from Suzanne Gomez. John, because they've handled it so brilliantly. Ben Brown and publicity people. I'm like, oh my God! I thought everybody knew we were talking about it on the set. So I'm not saying anything.
Okay.
Well, what do you know? What can you, did they give you any sort of hint as to what's going on with your character this coming season?
Yeah. I think one thing that I think is very interesting, I've just heard Andrew say, was that where a lot of the heart centered around the Allen family in season 1, we're going to learn a lot more about the West family and that interaction between the two this year. I mean, certainly a big arc has been to get Henry out of jail, his father out of jail. He spent his entire life doing it, and so that eventually will happen one way or another, you know. And then what happens to the relationships? You know, then what decisions does Henry make? What does that do to the? I mean, the Barry-Henry relationship has been very contained. We saw it open up a little bit when Joe came into the picture, when suddenly Barry was upset because Joe and Henry were colluding to solve crime just before I got shanked. He was suddenly no longer my only window on the world, you know, and he didn't like it. So, I'm amazed at the amount of story they're burning up, the characters, the relationship. Every time I get a script, I'm like, every time I think you can't top yourself, you do something to surprise me. Every time I think there's no other way to write this father-son scene, you pull out a new way, you know, so I'm as excited as you are to find out. I just hope I don't get a script where it says he drops the ice cream cone. What? That's my Dawson's Creek.
Good pull.
Boom.
I mean, why do you think the relationship between Barry and his two dads kind of is so successful, and what's it like for you to play it out?
Those are two great questions, and I'll say one thing. It was really. I'm so in awe of our producers, and not just because they write my paycheck, but the idea of casting someone who's played a role that's as physically demanding as Barry Allen's The Flash is, to play the father of the young man who's now playing it. I have a built-in empathy. I know what he's going through. He knows I've been where he is. So we sort of bring that whenever we walk into that jail cell cubicle. I bring that history, I bring that show with me. I bring, there's almost like our homework is done for us. And Grant, talk about the delineation between the way he plays the different fathers. I mean, when he is with me, the content is a lot the same, isn't it? When he's with Joe and when he's with Henry. But Henry raised him from birth to age 10. So he comes to me almost as a child. I mean, the moment in the Trickster episode when he takes the cowl off, they freeze framed it on Facebook, on social media, and there's a look in his eye like he's 10 years old. Then he goes and plays a very similar scene with Joe, who took him from 10 years into young adulthood, and it's qualitatively different. And that's a sign of a really smart actor. I've been so admired the choices. One reason that it works is because I haven't seen a false moment from Grant. So it's a pleasure to just show up and say the words,
Next questions.
I mean, as far as Henry, who would you love to share scenes with? The rest of the cast.
I was thrilled to get into Star Labs, albeit briefly. Someone who noticeably wasn't there was Candace. I want Henry and Iris to have a scene, and I really want to work with Candace, whom I just adore. I'm so fond of all the cast, but I can't wait to see, a Henry. I can't tell you that.
Thank you.